First and foremost, you guys may have heard what happened yesterday. Yeah, Antonio Gaston, tragic accident yesterday. He lost his life. Originally from this local. Had to follow his job to Toledo, Local 12. You know, chasing his American dream to stay working until this place got back up and going. You know, the fight we're doing here to try to reopen this, to get these people back home, all I thought about last night was, this wouldn't have happened if he was here. Plain and simple, it wouldn't have happened. That's what makes this so important. So I'd like everybody to rise. We need to do a moment of silence for Antonio. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to do some introductions here. We're going to get through these pretty quick. I got a little bit to say after that, and I know the reason you guys are here is not to hear me talk, so I'm going to get through it, make it quick. First off, we've got VP for GM, Mike Booth.
Morning, everybody.
Secretary Treasurer, Margaret Mock. Region 1 Director, LaShawn English. Region 6 Director, Mike Miller. Region 8 Assistant Director, George Palmer. Region 9 Assistant Director, Ray Jensen. Region 9A Director, Brandon Mencia. Region 4 Assistant Director, Lucas Despain. Region 4 Director, Brandon Campbell. Stellantis Department Director, Kevin Gatinsky. And President Sean Fain. You can't hear me talk? Oh, you didn't come to hear me talk. All right, so a lot of you guys were at the President Biden event down at the community building, and we kind of laid out, you know, what it took to get what we got in the contract. And I left a big part out of what I said that day. So going in the direction of negotiations, putting Belvidere in the hands of the negotiators and the international staff, I wasn't worried about the workforce. We've got the #1 workforce in this corporation. But what I didn't get a chance to touch on is we've got Dave Vella down here, Congressman Bill Foster. These guys stepped up. And Steve Stottleman. I didn't even see you down there. You snuck in. Thanks, Dave. So the point of that was these guys stepped up even before I got elected president to find out what the hell they could do. So from the local standpoint, the state standpoint, and the federal government standpoint, things were done. Property was picked up. Tax incentives. Money is there for this company to come in and start doing work out here. Everybody stepped up. You guys, our political friends, the international, the negotiators. You know who hasn't? Stellantis. That's who it's sitting with. They've gone through, they've pulled product, we've got downtime, we've got high inventory. They're basically, what they got going right now, it's like they're pushing us into a situation. Maybe I shouldn't go further on that. Anyway, we're all pissed here. Everything's been done. We're waiting on them. And I wanted to make sure that Vela, Stottleman, Foster, you guys knew. They stepped up. They got it done. If that money, that land wasn't there, I'm not sure these guys could have got anything for Belvidere. All that had to come together to make this happen. And we're waiting on Stellantis. So that's all I got to say. I'm going to pass it on to Brandon Campbell.
Let me lower this down just a little bit. Wow, Belvidere, it's amazing to be back and see this place as packed as it is, and we want to see it packed again for the right reason next time. I've got to say about the tragedy that happened yesterday, nobody should go to work and not come home. Not in this country, not anywhere in the world, certainly not in one of our shops. So I want to thank everybody on the board, all of our colleagues here for showing up to this, showing up for all of us. So again, shout out to all of them for making the trip here with us. I want to thank Matt and the whole Local 1268 leadership for putting this together, the logistics in very, very short order. Great job. I want to thank all of our elected leadership that's here. Matt already shouted them out. I got to say, Steve, you're in trouble because you're supposed to be driving your daughter to college right now. So thank you, especially for being here. And then Congressman Eric Sorensen couldn't be here today, but certainly wanted to, so I want to give him a shout out as well. You know, and I thank all of you for showing up and being ready once again to stand up. Belvidere, Local 1268, this has been my home since I was born, literally since I was born. I'm second generation UAW, second generation right here, Local 1268. I started working in the body shop in 1994, and I won my first election here in 2005. In fact, your president, my president, Matt Franson, and I, we got sworn in right here on the exact same day. I owe everything to this union and to you, this membership. So I'm going to do everything in my power, everything to repay that impossible debt to repay. I should be a little more proper when I say this, but we've been friends a long time. But Sean, Matt, myself, we've all known each other for a long time. And forgive me, President Fain, President Franson. But we've known each other for a long time. And we know a little bit about fighting with this company for sure. We know that it takes force. It takes solidarity. It takes patience and grit. And it requires taking some chances. There are certainly no sure things in battles like this one. And in fact, Walter Reuther said it best. If you're not big enough to lose, then you're not big enough to win. So that requires taking some chances. But look, this is simple. The company needs to honor the commitments they made. In 2023, we struck and won historic contract at Stellantis that made major gains for our members right here and across the country. We won something that's never been seen before, the reopening of an assembly plant, that assembly plant right here in Belvidere. Now, Stellantis, they want to back out of that deal, right? They want to back out of the commitment. But they need to honor that commitment, honor that contract, and keep the promise to workers who built this company from the ground up. Make absolutely no mistake, we are prepared to enforce our contract. We filed a grievance recently over the Belvidere assembly plant, and we're going to follow that grievance procedure until this is resolved. All we're asking for them is for them to honor the damn contract and honor their commitments that they made to you, to our members. Simply keep their promise. Look, we don't want to strike. There's been a lot of talk about that in the media and things like that. That's not what we're after. But we are prepared to strike if we have to. We're gonna enforce our contract to the full extent necessary. To the full extent necessary. And look, this isn't just up to us. This is up to that company. This is up to Stellantis how this damn thing ends. We are simply asking them, again, to honor the word that they committed to in writing. We won the right to strike over all product and investment in our last contract for this very, very reason. Because we know what this company is driven by. You may have heard Sean say it once or twice before. This company is driven by corporate greed, and we won't let them run roughshod over the auto workers, our members, who make this company extremely profitable. And we're here in Belvidere today. And it's Belvidere today, but who's next? Anybody else that sees this across the country, who is next? If it's us today, it's you tomorrow, right? If they go back on Belvidere, what else are they going to go back on? These ain't just Belvidere jobs. These are jobs for our members who are laid off in other parts of the country. These are new, good, union jobs for members right here in this community. Stellantis says they want to delay production at Belvidere Assembly by a year. But we know what they're hoping to push, right? They're hoping to push it outside of the life of our agreement so they can delay the investment permanently, close this plant, kill these jobs, and decimate this community. That's what they're after. The problem isn't the auto workers. It's the CEO that's at the top. It's Carlos Tavares. He's totally mismanaged this company, and if you did your job the way that he did his, you'd be fired. When I spoke last year at the rally that Matt had set up in, I believe it was October during our stand-up strike, I talked about the $25 million that Carlos Tavares was handed. Yeah, I said handed, because he certainly didn't earn it. I told you about that $25 million that he earned in 2022, and that it would take 700 years for an employee at Stellantis that was hired after 2007, 700 years to make what he made in just that 1 year. 700, that's unfathomable to me. I also told you corporate greed was alive and well. Well, guess what? Since that time, Carlos gave himself a 56% increase in pay. These CEOs cried crocodile tears over our record contracts that provided what? 25% pay increases over the entire life of the agreement, right? But Carlos had no problem at all giving himself a $14 million per year increase for himself. That is disgusting. This guy jacks up his own pay 56% and tries to cut his way to profitability. He cuts our ability to pay the rent. He cuts our ability to put food on the table. He cuts out of our communities, and he cuts out of the American economy. Now look, I want to be abundantly clear. This fight is about Stellantis' clear violation of our agreement. It's about them failing to keep their promises. That's what this is about. However, why did Stellantis move the Jeep Cherokee and the Jeep Compass before that to Mexico? Why'd they do that? It's not because they needed to. They weren't losing money. Those vehicles were profitable. In Mexico, workers make 1/10 of what the American auto worker makes, and they sure as hell don't reduce the price of those vehicles when they ship them back to us. And this is important, and we foolishly and ignorantly buy those damn vehicles back from Mexico. Don't do it, right? The assistant director likes to say, look at your VIN. Look at your VIN before you purchase a vehicle. If it starts with a 3, it ain't for me. If it starts with a letter, just forget her. Quit buying that stuff from over there that's killing our jobs. They sent our jobs south across the border. They continue to gouge the American consumer, and the only thing that's going to stop the gutting of the middle class is for us to stand up and stand together. They made a promise. They signed on the dotted line. And like Matt said earlier, you did your part. We all did our part, but Stellantis did not. They have not kept their word. They've made it clear that they certainly don't intend to. Market conditions. Cameras are rolling, so I'll say BS, market conditions. We're in the middle of an election cycle, and you're going to hear a lot about the border. You're going to hear fear-mongering about brown people coming north through our southern border. And I'm not trying to tell you how to feel about that right now today. That's a different conversation for a different time. But the real crisis for America, for American workers, and the American economy is corporate greed and people like Carlos Tavares deporting our jobs from north to south through that same border. That's the real crisis at the border. And make no mistake, this is all happening after President Trump claimed the trade imbalance with Mexico was fixed under NAFTA 2.0, the USMCA. So if you think politics don't matter, think again. Trump is a scab. Regardless, a contract was negotiated. The company violated it. Your union, our union, filed a grievance. And now, many of you know, the grievance process for far too long has been something that happens behind the scenes. Not this grievance. No way in hell. This guy ain't gonna let that happen, I promise you that. You're gonna know where it's at, you're gonna know what's going on every step of the way. Stellantis is trying to claim market conditions are to blame. Market conditions are not to blame. Poor leadership is to blame. Proof of that, Ford, GM, they're doing just fine on both sales and profits. So it's certainly not the market. Not the market. Tavares needs to change course now, immediately, for our members, for our families, and for our communities. We fought for the right to strike over grievances of this nature, this very nature, and if necessary, we damn well intend to use that right. We intend to fight. And why is that? Governor Tim Walz said it very well last night. Because when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. That's right. We will not stop. We will not lie down. Together, we're going to keep standing up. We're going to keep fighting. Because when we fight, we win. Solidarity, brothers and sisters.
Now we'll call Kevin Gatinsky up for a few words.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Brandon, for sharing great words with everyone here. Again, my name's Kevin Gatinsky. I am the director over the Stellantis department, working underneath President Fain. I guess starting off, just to hit on it too, obviously we had a horrific tragedy yesterday. You know, these tragedies should not take place in our facilities. They're preventable. Nobody should ever lose their life going to work and not have the opportunity to return back to their families as they leave the house in the morning, planning on, you know, returning and having a meal and sharing it even with their families, kids. I mean, we need to hold these companies accountable to any health and safety grievances and matters and concerns. I mean, it's ridiculous when grievances are in the system for months, if not years, with health and safety concerns. I've shared with the company, we had a health and safety conference last month. I shared with the company that it is our top priority. I know myself, President Faines, that we make sure these issues are resolved immediately and don't get lingered on for months and years in some cases. So again, they're preventable and should never happen. So switching gears to Belvidere, I want you guys to know, since I've been director of Stellantis, Belvidere is at the top of our conversations every time I meet with the company. Any conversations we have is what's going on with Belvidere. Again, going back months now, the company responded back in February that they were going to push the product back from 2027 to 2028. Brandon touched on that, and their goal is to push it outside of the contract, not to honor it, not to follow through with it. Just again, I want to let you know, myself, President Fain, our entire staff, we're committed to make sure this company follows through with that commitment and honors it and brings the product that was promised and negotiated in our contract to follow through with the terms of it. We're dealing with a company that's different than what we've dealt with in some time. It kind of is resemblant of some of our past, some of our downturns of this company. And dealing with Carlos Tavares and Stellantis, it's nothing but a fight and battle. They don't think right. They don't think for us. They don't have a desire of building our company in our country. They don't have a desire to have a footprint in our country. I mean, they've clearly spoken that they want to chase where they can build a product cheaper. And if it's not Mexico, they've even said Mexico's becoming too expensive and looking to go to South America. And Brandon spoke on it. We're in an auto industry right now that is strong. GM had a $4.4 billion quarter, their best quarter in 3 years. The overall industry is up 2.2%. Ford and GM had great profits in the first half of this year. At the same time, Stellantis reported 20% loss in overall sales, 20% loss in Mopar sales. Our Ram vehicle, one of our most profitable vehicles, is down 20%. There's no reason for it other than leadership. The guy at the top is burying his company. He talks about quality issues that we've never had those issues before him. We've built product forever. Stellantis, the Chrysler division, that who we are and what we are and been all along. We've built profitable, great vehicles. Our company's been around for, I've been around for 30 plus years, and we've always built a great product. Now all of a sudden under his leadership we struggle. It's all him. It's all the leadership at the top that's burying us and dragging us down and putting us in the position we're in today. With a strong economy in the auto industry still, you would think we'd have our plants all running at full capacity. You think they'd want to push this Belvidere product up sooner. The market's strong. It's not 08 when the economy all collapsed, the auto industry collapsed, where we were downsizing and cutting shifts. Warren Truck just announced that they're going to be losing the DS, which was planned for some time now, but that facility is going to go down to one shift. And I've been stressing to the leadership that I deal with on a daily basis, we need to put a product there. The economy is still strong. It doesn't make sense. It's not efficient to run a product on just one shift with a volume of 70,000 when you have the capacity of doing 2 times, 3 times that. I mean, again, if the situation was different in the industry, I could understand it, but it's unacceptable. And I can tell you their response to me is we don't have any product commitment at that facility, which is total bullshit. We need to do something with the economy that's still strong, the auto industry is strong, put a product in there. The company sales are off, let's get creative, let's put a product in there, no different than let's make sure we commit to following through with the product here in Belvidere in the time frame that was negotiated. In our 2023 agreement with Stellantis, there's a $18.9 billion investment commitment in the U.S. Every plant has some investment. Again, Belvidere was supposed to get the Mopar Mega Hub here in 2024. They were supposed to get a stamping plant here in 2025. And again, the product in 2027. The company has pushed back at all 3 of those dates. The Mega Hub, they're saying 26, possibly 27. And we didn't ask for these mega hubs. It's consolidation, and it has heartburn. It affects people. We knew it across the table when bargaining it that somebody's going to have to get relocated. There's nothing fun about, going through experiencing those type of things. I've went through plant closures, and there's nothing I can, wish that anyone has to go through. But the spin the company put on it, they stressed that it was required and necessary to consolidate, to become more efficient so we could stay competitive. And if we didn't, Mopar would die on the vine. By the end of the contract, it would go away. So you would think if Mopar is off 20% in sales and they've stressed to consolidate, they would be pushing that forward actually sooner to become more competitive. But again, what are they doing? They're saying they're going to push it off. So that's why we did meet with leadership last week. We brought it to all leadership, what's going on, what's being violated currently in our contract, and that's the 3 items that I mentioned here at Belvidere: Mega Hub, stamping, and product. And we've requested, because it affects every member across every facility, every location, to file grievances to get this company to do what's right and follow through with their commitment. So this past week, multiple locals, Local 12, 1700, 51, 7, 685, 1166, 869, 1264, 140, all filed grievances on behalf of the violation that's currently going on here from Belvidere. So, and moving forward, we've asked every location, because everyone is affected by it, and all locations are going to participate. All locations are going to file grievances because it has impact across the board and an effect on everybody. Again, I mentioned there's product investment at every location, and if the company's showing right out of the rip they're going to violate that and not honor it here, they're not going to honor it anywhere else. So again, we're going to push and press the company to do what's right, and make sure we bring this community back to life as was promised, through our bargaining. So that's really where I'm going to leave it. I said I want to appreciate everyone for coming out and the support, and I want you to know that we are behind you 100%. We will fight for you every day. You are at the top of our priority, and we will never back down. With the leadership of President Fain, we will get what you guys have coming, I promise you. So thank you.
Take a look around you. We've got some retirees in the house. They built this legacy we're fighting for. They handed it off to us. It's up to us to keep it going. We appreciate every single one of you retirees, and we're doing what we can to keep the legacy going. But I wanted everybody to see we got retirees, we got active employees, we've got laid off employees, we got employees that transferred, all here to listen, to show we care about this damn plant. So thank you, retirees. So that's all we got. Nobody else going to speak. So, are there any questions? No. Lastly, we've got my friend, my president, Sean Fain.
You got that, brother.
It's getting hot in here.
So good morning, Belvidere family. I want to thank you all for having us at your Union Hall, and just for you coming out here and for never giving up the fight. I got to tell you, I went to bed last night, and I had a heavy heart when I went to bed. And I woke up today, and I was mad as hell. I'm sick and tired of watching our members get sacrificed at the altar of corporate greed. As a shop chair at my plant, I dealt with 2 fatalities. And both of them were needless. They could have both been prevented. And last night it was no different. We lost another member of our family because of corporate greed. And I'll tell you why that is. You know, you all know it. These companies have minimum required to run numbers they run by. You know how many people we used to have back in the day running these plants? They have cutted and gutted these plants. They have cutted and gutted the trades workforce. They got trades working on 15 jobs at a time. They can't cover them all. Then they tell these other workers, hey, you do this. You don't have to wait on trades. And it always leads to injuries. They don't give a damn about our lives. And I got to say, I'm sick and tired of our members paying the price for these companies and their bad decisions. And I'm mad as hell, I'll tell you this, because I'm sitting here looking at you all right now. And you all deserve better. It is complete bullshit. You know, nobody takes more pride in their product than the members of the UAW that make that product. And nobody builds a better product than the UAW workers. You know, last year as we went into our stand-up strike, I said many times it was our generation's defining moment. And I didn't even know at that point when I was saying it how true that was. Because what we're seeing now defines a generation of this industry. Here in Belvidere, we showed what Walter Reuther used to say. What he defined, the definition of real power, is when you make a company say yes when they want to say no. We got a commitment, a promise from Stellantis to reopen this plant in the life of this contract. Our contract fight was also a defining moment for these companies. They were forced to face the question, how is management going to react now that the American auto worker is waking up and standing up? And they fought us tooth and nail, but they saw that when we organized in solidarity and we didn't let up, that they had to come to the table and take care of our demands. And UAW family, it's time to tap into that spirit once again. For too long in our union, we've let these companies define our future. We've let them set the narrative of the so-called greedy auto worker. You know, every time there's an issue, they blame the workers. And we know damn good and well the workers are not the problem with this company or any other company. You know, we've let them control our destinies. We've let them run roughshod over our agreements. And when I took this office, I said we need to eliminate the word can't from our vocabulary. You know, they told us, you can't take on all the big three at once. They said you can't win a commitment to reopen Belvidere. And now, of course, the company's trying to say you can't enforce the contract. I'm sick and tired of being told what we can't do. It's time we focus on what we must do to protect our families and our communities. And we're done in the days of this union of every man for himself, every plant for themselves. That's the old way of doing things. You know, I've sat here for years as a member of this council, and I've watched multiple plants close year after year, and other plants sit back and say, well, it doesn't affect me. Everything that happens to any plant anywhere affects us. And that's why locals across this country file grievances, because we're going to stand together as a united UAW, and they're going to stand up for you. You know, one of my favorite quotes by Dr. King is, you know, an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And it's no different in our movement. We have to apply that mindset to the UAW and the entire working class. You know, in our best, we stand up for each other. And when we stand up for each other, it's not charity, it's not pity. You know, it's sacrifice, and it's what we call solidarity. It's standing in solidarity with one another. That is what the union's about. That's our power. And it's the knowledge that we know that our fight at Belvidere is tied to the fights in Michigan, Ohio, and anywhere else in this country. And as Belvidere goes, so goes everybody else. So this week, we've been in Chicago. We've been making sure that the world knows our priorities and our issues. And we've been very loud and clear about that. We're going to continue to be loud and clear about that. And wherever you stand in this election, the fact is this: the UAW has something we haven't had in a long time. We've got the nation's attention, and we got political capital. And as Governor Tim Walz says, what you do with political capital is you spend it.
That's right.
So we intend to fight like hell to make this company keep their promise. And that means using the grievance procedure to the full extent. It means telling the story of Belvidere everywhere. And it means letting people know that there is another path, that the auto industry cannot and will not cut its way to profitability or lay down and die in the face of corporate greed that puts short-term stock prices over the health of our industry and our communities. Yesterday one of our members was killed on the job in Toledo. And our union brother was a transfer right out here out of Belvidere. Man, that is a final indignity of being scattered from your home due to Stellantis' corporate greed. And that's all it is. The man should have never been in Toledo, Ohio. We're still investigating the circumstances of that accident, and what we do know is this: a company that's cut and cut and cut, no matter who stands in the way or who it hurts. And you better believe it extends to safety. It extends to people working ungodly hours until they're exhausted. And yesterday an auto worker was killed. And tomorrow, the CEO of this company plans to head into Michigan and lecture a plant about quality. Yeah. 2 days after a worker dies in one of their plants, he's going to go to a plant in Michigan and talk about quality. He's not talking about quality of life. He's sure as hell not talking about the quality of our safety. And he's not talking about the quality of our jobs. He's talking about product quality. And he's saying it's all the auto workers' fault that the car maker can't figure out how to sell a car. The auto worker, the people who actually make the product and make this company run, we understand damn good and well what the problem is. The problem's a CEO that's got short-sighted goals for his own personal gain at the expense of everybody else. And that's why in the quest for more profits to outsource parts, they expect a top-rate product and they expect top-rate quality from our members when Stellantis pays rock-bottom prices for parts by exploiting workers somewhere else who cheaply produce parts like wiring harnesses. And then those harnesses and all that junk they buy, when it fails, they want to blame the workers for the problem. That's not our decision, that's their decision. And the reason we deal with that, and this is a simple thing that all comes back to, because the answer for the corporate class is to never take accountability or responsibility for the bad decisions they make. A worker's killed in one of the Stellantis plants, and the CEO wants to talk about the quality of cars. That is inexcusable, and it's inhumane. And that's what corporate greed does. And I'm mad as hell because it's another preventable fatality in the long line of fatalities, and it's happening way too much. And I'm mad as hell about another thing, about the fraud that Stellantis commits every day when they report 0 lost time accidents at plants for 5 to 10 years, when there's always a line of injured workers sitting in the front office. All these actions turn a great American company into a vampire that's just feeding off blue-collar communities like Belvidere. But the company wants to talk about market conditions now. And here are the market conditions. Sales and profits are up at GM and Ford, and the Stellantis CEO is the highest paid CEO in the industry outside of Elon Musk. Car prices are up 30%. And the American auto market remains the biggest in the world. And you know, we always notice how it's market conditions whenever workers are trying to get their fair share. But it's never market conditions when the CEO wants to buy another yacht and double his salary. Market conditions didn't do this. Corporate greed is what's doing this. We are not the problem. Corporate greed is the problem. And in the UAW, we're going to solve that problem. I want you all to know that your international union is done waiting around for the company to do the right thing. We are taking action, and we're going to get Stellantis to keep their promise. You know, in 2023, we won the right to strike over product commitments. And the company ignores. You know, the interesting part of this is, even outside of that, you look at our sourcing memorandum that's been in place for decades. You know, the company always wants to talk about language in that sourcing memorandum where they can try to manipulate it to try to outsource work. But what they don't talk about is the first part of that memorandum, where it states that the objective of the sourcing of work is to place primary reliance on its current employees, on its current workforce. That's what the letter starts with, and that's the intent of that language, is to put primary reliance on you. And they sure as hell aren't living up to that expectation either, and that commitment. So this week, we filed grievances over Stellantis' refusal to honor their contract commitment to Belvidere. And I want to be very clear on this point. Our goal is not to strike. Our goal is to bring jobs and products back to Belvidere that belong here. But if we have to strike to make that happen, you can be damn good and well sure we're going to do it. We're being very clear with Stellantis' management. We have filed these grievances, and we are ready to resolve them. So my message to Carlos Tavares is you better step up or the UAW is going to stand up. But I want to thank you all for being in a fight with us. That's what we're here to do. And in the words of future President Kamala Harris, when we fight, we win. Thank you.
All right, guys, so we'll open it up. We got a mic over here. If we'll take a few questions, and then after that, we'll let these guys get out on the floor and kind of mingle with you guys, have some other conversations if you don't want to come to the mic and ask the question. So, anyone have any questions?
I think it's on. I was wondering how the decision of the REINS Act that's passed the House and is now in the Senate, and the Supreme Court decision to overturn Chevron is affecting Stellantis' decision?
Came out with a big one. I'm gonna step away from the mic and let somebody else answer that.
No, it's a great question. I'm glad you came up with that. Look, that's the epitome of what is going on right now in this country. It's the epitome of why this election is so damn important. Because that Chevron decision, literally is going to open a chasm where you read Project 2025, the manifesto of the Republican Party right now, to destroy public education. I mean, with that Chevron decision, trust me, the next step is they're going to use the Supreme Court. They're going to come after OSHA. They're going to get rid of OSHA. They're going to get rid of everything they can where workers have a right, and they're going after workers' rights and everything. I mean, the NLRB, everything we have, every minimum standard we have in place, it's under attack. So all those things are imperative. And to me, that when we talk about this election and why it's so important, it can't be more clear. I mean, and I don't care what your politics are in here. This ain't about politics. This isn't about political parties. This isn't about my opinion. This is about who the hell is going to stand with working people and who is going to screw working people. So, but we've got to elect people, in Congress, not just the presidency, but in Congress also, that will rein this stuff in, because the way it's headed right now, it's not good for us. And Stellantis' decisions, I mean, to me, whether that happened or not, that way it wouldn't affect us. Stellantis is going to do what they're going to do. The only power we have is, and that's why we put language in place, is to protect that commitment and keep our jobs here. We've seen, I mean, look, in the last 20 years, we've seen 65 plants in the big three be spun off or closed. And so, that's unacceptable. And that's why we have changed direction this union, and that's why we're not going to sit back anymore and just let bad things happen and try and make excuses about it. But I hope that...
I just think the REINS Act has if that passes the Senate, will have a big effect on Stellantis' decisions.
Yeah, all of these things will. Yeah, I mean, that's why, again, people ask, why do we inject ourselves in the political realm? We have to. As Walter Reuther says, there's a direct correlation between the ballot box and the bread box, and so we've got to stay involved in it. Thank you for your question.
I have to admit that in my 20s and 30s, I was busy raising my children, had my nose to the ground, doing the best I could to be a mother, working for a multi-billion-dollar industry, making absolutely no money whatsoever. Couldn't even barely feed my family. And then I was so grateful when I got my call from UAW to say, come on and go to work. I'm like the American dream. And then I get to Stellantis and I'm meeting all these wonderful people and I'm hearing, I'm from Michigan, I'm from New York, I'm from all over the place in 2012. So in 2012, the UAW already was shot down with all of these people in our buildings when they should be at home in their own atmospheres, in their own places where they love to be with their families. So now, I've been in this company now for over 12 years, and I'll tell you what, I got out of debt for the first time in my whole entire life, and I was so grateful for all of that. But then again, we had COVID, which made me study and figure out, why are all these people in our building, and why were they shut down, and who was in charge? And now, not only has our building been shut down, permanently closed, brought back up, and now being sent off again, all under the same parties that have done this for centuries. And why are we voting for them to destroy us? Yeah. Why?
Well, I don't know who you mean, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we can go through this over and over, as I said, over the last 20 years.
I've heard the Democratic, I listened to both of them. Mm-hmm. And I've heard promises that have been kept by President Trump, and I've heard promises from Joe that are not kept up at all. And if you think that we are gonna survive
Hey,
as
let
a
her
company
speak. Look, let her
with
speak.
Kamala
Hey, guys,
Harris,
come on. Let her speak. Yes.
if you think that we're going to survive as a company with her in charge when her only little job is that border and we have millions pouring through, and I know because I have a whole bunch of people in my family that are in the military.
No.
So,
Yeah, everybody. Hey, everybody, please, let's go. Let her out. She has a mic, and let her speak, please.
and you know what? I didn't even vote for Trump the first time.
Yep.
I like the results that I got between my savings account, my work. I lived at this place during Trump because we were booming. Yes. And
Yeah.
guess what? Then we had to have a plague go on that was purposely done to our country to demolish the middle class.
No, thank you. Thank you for your comments. And look, let's be real about this, because we're going to talk truth. You want to talk about Trump? We'll talk about Trump. I mean, that's a man that says if Trump was president, let me explain one thing right now. When we struck last fall, we'd all been fired, because he's all for that. You know, and President Biden did keep his promises. Hey, I got the floor now. We respected you. Please respect me. You know, when President Biden did keep his promise, President Biden secured funding and secured things for this company to keep product here. The company is not honoring their commitment, not the president, the company. And when Donald Trump was president, we had multiple plants closing in the UAW, and Donald Trump didn't do a damn thing. He told Lordstown workers, don't sell your houses. And they got sent all over the country. And the economy, just so you know, we went through a recession, and the Republican Party, if John McCain would have got elected, they all said, let us fail. It was a Democrat that stood up and said, hell no, and gave us a path forward. Or none of you would have never got a job here if it wasn't for the Democrat Party. So understand, I mean, I want to be, if we're going to talk facts, let's talk facts. But the Democrat Party stood up for us in a recession and gave us a path forward, and that is why we're still standing here today. So there is a distinct difference between these parties. Every piece of legislation that labor has put forward in Congress in the last 2 decades has been straight party line votes. The Republicans always vote against it, and the Democrats vote for it. Look it up. And those are facts. So that is why we support candidates that support us. And we don't blindly endorse candidates anymore in this union. Our endorsements will be earned. And those people who put up for us, we will put up for them.
Hi, I'm Rhonda. My name is Rhonda Bailey. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. Monroe engine, Mack engine. Thank you. And I'm here in Naperville at Mopar. I represent Local 1178. And I wanted to know what are the plans with the hub here at Belvidere? The auto, I know it needs to be here. So what will what are your outlook going forward with the hub from Naperville and Belvidere?
So again, I touched on it earlier. I mean, there was some consolidation within Mopar, and again, it was stressed by the company that they felt it was required in order for us to stay afloat and stay competitive. So again, the commitment was supposed to be here in 2024 for the Mega Hub, and in our conversations with the company, they're pushing it off, and they're saying they can't commit to the Mega Hub right now at this point in time until they have the footprint of the product,
Right.
which is complete BS, because now they're pushing the product back to 2028. So we're still trying to hash through that. And then the stamping aspect of it. They've pulled out stamping equipment out of this facility, which baffles me beyond anything, that a commitment was supposed to bring stamping here. Why you're pulling equipment out of here? It doesn't really add up, right? So I know they say you have to come back in and assess the equipment that was pulled out of here to figure out the stamping aspect of it. But those are all in conversations we're having right now. Again, products should be here, or the Mega Hub should be here in 2024. There should be some life brought back to this community right now, here in 2024, and it's not happening. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but that's
Well,
kind of the structure and plan and details I can share with you now.
Right. I'm just getting the gist because you're putting it all in together. Belvidere and the hub, they want to come here. So, will there be movement with any other hubs? I know New York is in place and Brampton. Is everything else at a halt as far as
the Boston, New York, which is going to Fishkill, is the only mega or consolidation that there's been approval for any funding at all.
Okay.
I know there's talk of the Orlando location, but there's no funding allocated for that whatsoever at this point in time.
Okay.
So this is the Fishkill location is the only one. They were supposed to have a meeting here in August. It was pushed back to September for commitment for financial commitment for product and facilities, and like I said, that was pushed back. I'm still waiting to hear results to that and what it is. Again, I mean, I don't know how you're having a meeting about funding for something that should have already taken place here this year.
Right.
They've never had a desire to do anything here.
Wow.
It's sad to say, but that's the truth.
That's true.
And I mean, we're going to force the issue, and we're going to make sure it's brought here the way we negotiated and bargained for. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Rep.
Ever since I started here, it's been stressed that we should live on a 40-hour week pay, not rely on overtime. 40 hours is what we've been told to live on. With us being on sub, our pay's been cut by 26%. That's roughly about $250, $300 a week. You take that over a year, you're looking at $12,000 a year that you're missing out on. The state of Illinois allows us to work half of our unemployment, which is roughly $600. We could earn about $300 extra a week by going out and getting a part-time job. Unfortunately, the sub language, if you earn any extra money, they take dollar for dollar out of your sub. So it makes it basically pointless to go and get a part-time job. It costs Stellantis nothing to allow us to go get a part-time job and earn up to what the state will allow us to do. Is there any way to go to, we open up negotiations all the time, they keep pushing stuff back. Is there any way to go and see if we can get that lifted to where we can go get a part-time job and make up some of that money that we're losing?
Yeah, that's a tough. I mean, it's a tough dilemma. I mean, the hard part of this is, the sub money's put there so that in the event of a bad circumstance, that it's a bridge for people to supplement unemployment so that you get the percentage of pay. But to open up the agreement, I don't know that would be the right path to do it. I mean, every contract, I believe, when we bargain a contract, we should look at that. But the goal is to get people working. I mean, literally, the issue here is they didn't put the jobs here that they committed to. If they put the jobs here, we'd be putting people back to work already. And that's the point. You should already be back to work. And because the company didn't honor that, we're not. So, but I would have to get a benefit person up here to really talk further in depth about the sub.
Sub is
of it,
kind of a short-term thing to get through retooling and everything. Never was envisioned to go 3+ years. And that's, $36,000 if we go the 3 years that we're losing out on. Sub doesn't cost, if we took that out, it doesn't cost the company any money. It's not money coming out of their pocket. It's just removing the restriction of allowing us to go back to work and get a part-time job somewhere.
Yeah, and there are circumstances we are talking with the company still really about this situation in Belvidere because, they made commitments. So we're trying to, again, get them to do more for the people here. I mean, we did deal with some of the layoff provisions and all that so that, sub took effect and all that.
I could understand if it was costing them money, but this isn't a single penny coming out of their pocket. It's just removing a restriction, allowing us to go get a part-time job.
I don't disagree with you, brother. We'll keep talking, so for sure. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Wendy Fitzgerald, and 1268 is our home. And I wanted to thank you guys for saying that you're going to fight to get all of these guys their jobs back.
We're going to fight.
as the union here, it seems like we've always been overlooked because we're so far away from like the big three. And, you know, I felt like we were overlooked when we got indefinitely laid off in 2022. Okay? Some of us signed up for transfers that never came. Out of all of us that are left that have the pension coming, 35, was it, Matt, people actually got a transfer like the early July, where you guys allowed our kids to just go. And what you guys said about Antonio Gaston, God bless you. But I'm telling you, I've been chasing this pension, and I'm now a member of the 1178. Don't know where that stands, but I'm going to tell you, I got videos of the work conditions that we went to, and nobody gave two shits about how our safety was. So if that helps, get Antonio and his family what they deserve, or this company as a whole. I'm sure a bunch of us have videos because we weren't protected. And you know, we do go into conditions because Belvidere is a strong ass workforce. And you know, my husband was a supervisor at Belvidere 1268, and he couldn't say enough about the union that worked for him. Okay, we give and give, and he used to transfer to the plants, and nobody worked harder than the Belvidere employees. Our safety, our quality, and a lot of times it's overlooked. And we allow it to happen because we just want a job. We want to work. So, you know what? I felt like, and I don't know all the ins and outs of this contract, but in 2022, when I got laid off, the following week I signed for a transfer to Toledo, okay? And I never got it. And I'm losing profit sharing, I'm losing all kinds of benefits. I got 4 years to go. I'm not even getting pension credits at this point because now I'm laid out of the 1178, and I can't even, you know, go there. There has been no word for any of us here. You know, and for the tier ones that were left here that need their pension, it's pretty damn sad that it doesn't seem like our international cares. And to hear you guys say you care and you're gonna back us, but you know, we're out in 4 years. We're not getting bonus checks, we're not getting profit sharing, we're not getting all kinds of stuff. But raises, you know, it's just sad. And I don't think that you guys as tier one should be overlooking that fact. Okay, and it's just frustrating to no end. But you know, I meant what I said. That Antonio Gaston, you know, sad. You know, I got tears here talking. It's just damn sad. And there's numerous people here that have been in the same situation, like you guys made that comment, how we're up in medical. You know, people have gotten hurt in Belvidere even, and they have to keep working with broken legs, and then they can't sit out because, oh my God. So they have a cab pick them up and bring them in. You know, that kind of shit should not be allowed in a strong union. I mean, it's like we're all, our union and the employees allow the company to dictate everything to us. So if you're ready to fight for us, God bless you. But there better be a damn fight, because I'm still pissed off that I didn't get my transfer in 2022. Because I should be working for my retirement. And at the end, I should have a damn good job, making overtime out the ass. My profit sharing should be huge. And it didn't happen. And this plant got screwed on the COVID, got screwed on the chips following the COVID. We're all behind. And I don't know that you guys get the big picture there.
No, we do. And look, like you, I hear your comment about Belvidere, and you feel like you're out. Look, I came from Kokomo, Indiana. It's the same thought down there. And you know, there was always this, you know, thought, I think, for people outside of Detroit that, you know, felt like we were kind of out on an island on our own. And I get the feeling. I mean, that's not the case. As far as 2022 goes, what happened with transfers, I'm not going to make excuses, but I wasn't involved in those decisions then. And I mean, but, you know,
But
you know,
wasn't it part of the national contract that no full-time seniority employee should be sitting off indefinitely when there's temporary workers? And we're
Yeah,
not talking
yeah,
Ohio.
yeah, no, I
we're
agree,
talking
yeah.
all over.
Yeah.
My son got transferred into a PDC.
Yep.
Temporary workers. You guys hired them out the shitload and
Yep.
when the contract finally ratified. But here we sat. So you guys didn't, maybe not you personally, but some of you were on that board and you guys didn't make them follow the contract then.
Yeah.
So we need your promise that this time is going to be different than all the other years.
Well, I mean, I hope you've seen in the last year and a half a major difference in the UAW and what we're doing with a new administration. But you know, look, I mean, even talking about the pension credits. Look, we're talking about the pension credits. We've been hitting the company about that. That look, you know, you're going to take care of these people because this is their decision, and they've got to honor those things. So all those things we're pushing the company and fighting the company for those things. So I don't want you to think we're not doing nothing on it. We are, but.
Yeah, but we're still losing the money that we should be packing away. Our kids are out of college. Our houses are paid for. We should be putting more money into everything, and we don't have it because we're getting 74% of our pay. And as far as the guy that wanted a part-time job, maybe I'd like to remind everybody when everybody at McDonald's was getting those big COVID checks, our sub pay was what, $25? Because the company got that money, not the workers, because we were under a contract. So if it screws us, we follow the contract. When it benefits us, nobody's fighting. That's my opinion. And I think that I'm not the only one that feels that way. But I do have videos of where we went to work in the 1178 over here, and it was atrocious. The stacks were leaning. You know, they gave us fork truck driving license, and you're like, holy shit, some of these people shouldn't be driving a fork truck, myself included. I'm just saying that, you know, I took a video, sent it to my kid, and said, if I get killed, sue the hell out of this place. That bad.
So we'll do, we got 3 people up there, do 3 more questions, and then we'll get Sean and the staff down to the floor. And, you know, if you guys got questions, hit them up on the floor that maybe you don't want to bring up to the mic. So, Reggie?
Yeah, how y'all doing? My name is Reggie, and I actually, the only time, for you guys that don't know me, the only time that I get up here is if something's within me, I feel something. I actually wasn't going to say nothing, but I have to. This is nothing bad. To me, it's a feel-good type moment. So first off, I want to thank the politicians that put in all the work for this to happen, especially my guy, Steve Nash Stotterman. Now, the reason I call him Steve Nash, I met Steve playing basketball at the Y. First, let me back up for a minute. I'm originally from Local 624 in Syracuse, New York. All right, I transferred here in July of 2006. For those of you that never been through having to make a decision to leave somewhere you've been your entire life, where you have your grandmother that you are the one that did her business. You have a mother, which is the reason why I'm here. My mother worked for Chrysler. You have a mother that raised a son, her one and only son, by herself with my grandparents. I can't leave them out. We have always stayed with my grandparents. My mother never left home. Well, I don't get that, but she didn't. I am a proud UAW worker, right? I actually can leave right now if I want to. What I mean by that, I can go over there and sit in front of Dave or Sharice, sign my papers, and be on my way. The old heads, which we call them old heads and old timers, I'm one of them now, by the way. They took the time and tried to school us. That's lost, in my opinion. That got lost somewhere, right? I don't do that. I try to talk to these youngsters. I try to school them. I be this close to getting on that Facebook, but I don't do it because it's not gonna go good. I want to get on there and try to school them because the things they're saying is not true. But I know me. Within 5 minutes, they're gonna be rebel with MFs, and I don't want to do that. So I don't do it. I don't get on there, but I want to do it so bad. I want to let them know that what they're saying is not true. You got to follow the process. This is not our fault. Ever since I worked for Chrysler, we have always, when the times got hard, we may bump heads, we may argue, we may cuss at each other, but when it comes time to get together, we all come together. So, like I said, within the next couple of months, I'm gonna be sitting in front of Dave or Sharice, and I'm signing my papers, and it's gonna be a done deal. But I could not stay at home and sit there and not come here. Number one, I'm not raised like that. Number two, my mother wouldn't like it. And number three, how could I not be here when we got these guys here that's already retired? They don't have to be here either. So how could I do that? I am very, very, very thankful. I used to ride by the plane in Chrysler and say, man, I wish I could get in there. Well, I got in there, and I'm here now. I got my time in, like I said, I can go. But I just want to say thank you to everybody up there. Sean, it really is hot in here. I just want to say thank you to everybody. I didn't want to get up here with no negative thoughts. I just want to put that out there. I'm very thankful for being in Belvidere. I met a lot of good people in Belvidere. Much love to everybody.
And I would just say, thanks for your comments. And that's what a union is.